I'm Kristal Hart, and welcome to the Kristal Hart Show. And with us is Andy Troy. And if you don't know Andy is a comedian, but he also runs a lot of the nightlife here in New York City. Now, tell us, Andy, it's been a long time with this COVID-19. Is nightlife ready to start up?
I'm actually very impressed at how excited people are about this, because it's been 15 months since I had to cancel my last party. Friday the 13th of March, I was scheduled to do a big dance party, and obviously that got shut down, and people have been waiting for life to resume here, and we're kind of like, doing stuff again, me and you.
Well, that's exciting. Now, tell me a little bit. We have a comedy act, right, that you recently did.
It's called the Broadway Comedy Club, very good club in the city, and yeah.
53rd and
53rd, it's kind of right off 8th. I guess the guy who named it had a bad sense of direction or something. It's not exactly on Broadway, but it's close. And real nice club. And I did a show there on May 14th, which was actually the day before my birthday. So it was kind of like a birthday party comedy thing, and it went very well. We sold it out, and some of the people actually liked me.
Well, I like
Mostly
you.
relatives.
Mostly. Give us a little bit of your stunt.
You want me to walk softly and carry a big stick?
Yeah.
No. Well, I talk about, growing up like a Jewish guy in Brooklyn, Jewish mothers can be a challenge, I mean, growing up with a Jewish mother, you could very well, they mean that well, but if you spend too much time with this woman during your teenage years, you could end up with a lifetime of therapy. If I came home a little late for dinner, I'd look in the refrigerator, my face was already on a milk cart. And the problem is with a Jewish mother, she had the secret weapon, Jewish guilt. My mother was the godfather of guilt. And I didn't just have to deal with her, I had to deal with her consigliere, my Aunt Sadie. I'd come home, they'd be watching their favorite horror film when a stranger calls, but my son doesn't. The table covered with brochures on assisted suicide. So I had a lot to deal with, My dad was a different kind of guy. He was like a World War II veteran. He was a difficult character to deal with. Not the most welcoming guy. When I was a kid, our front doorbell was a Rottweiler. Hey, Dad, I think someone's at the door. Spike just brought in a leg. That's okay, have him put it with the others. Good boy, Spike. Come on, bring it. Shake a leg and tell whoever it is to hop the hell off my porch. Don't make me go out there. I'm running out of mace. I'm just kidding. He never ran out of mace. He used to use it for cologne. Which explains all the tears at family gatherings. My whole childhood, I never got a good night's sleep because my father woke us up at 5 a.m. every morning playing marches by John Philip Sousa. I'm 14 years old dreaming about making out with this cute girl in my homeroom class. Next thing I know, she's coming at me with a tuba. I was told that I was an only child, but I'm convinced that the others had already escaped. I saw evidence of this when I looked behind their wedding photo, and I found the days of their sentence scratched into the wall with a dreidel. So it was rough growing up, You
are just wonderful. Just wonderful.
Girls, write that down, because I'm very, very lonely.
Well, you have a sidekick here too, also, Archie. Come on in here.
Come over. I want to throw a sidekick at you.
I don't know if we're all in the screen.
Oh man, we're together. How's it going?
The pointiest head in rock and roll.
Yes, I am. Charlie Z, Drumageddon here, and we're doing the show together coming up in July. This is going to be amazing.
Yeah, we let him play a little drums in the beginning so we can get all the rim shots in early.
It's true. Somebody's got to make it funny, right?
I was actually a musician for many years myself. I had a record out in the 80s, back when they still had records. And as soon as I put a record out, they stopped having records. That was my effect on the industry. But I figured people were laughing at me on stage all the time anyway, so why not switch to comedy?
and it's working out really well. It was a sold-out show, but the next show coming up is going to be really big too. We have a bunch of really awesome comics coming up. Jeffrey is going to be on, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Gurian, very well-known local comic, and he's a popular guy. I like him. Comes to my parties. That's why I like him.
Yes.
He comes to my parties.
I do, and we're going to be doing a lot of parties too. I mean, I run a lot of parties, you run a lot of parties, we do a lot of parties, and you're going to be at our parties too. It's going to be great.
Andy Troy,
I
Troy.
think you came to one. Of my ones.
I've come to a few, and I'm gonna.
And she's still talking to me, so that's a good sign. So,
I'm doing this at midnight here on the stoop in New York City.
Love it. Love it.
Let's go inside and see the show.
That's awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, now for the main event. The moment we've all been waiting for. He's been at retirement for about 20 years. Back on the comedy scene. 30. About 30 years. Now this guy is a Renaissance man. He's written a book called Living Young. You've seen him on the Tyra Banks Show. You've seen him on Cake Boss. He even made a movie called Scars of the Predator, but he has the best parties in New York City. We're all going to party, that's what's going to happen. But guys, big, warm, birthday boy welcome for Andy Troy!
a mic with a wire. They knew an old guy was coming up here. So, it's nice to be out with friends again, isn't it? Lately, I've been stuck home working on my modeling career. So far, I've built a plane, a train, and 3 race cars. I've been home so much lately, I started doing things I never thought I would do. I even got a cat. They're nice, right, cats? Especially cats from Brooklyn, like furry little mobsters. Actually, cats are scarier than mobsters, because if you sentence them to life, they still got 8 left. I was watching The Godfather with my little guy, and next time I was late feeding him, I found a mouse's head in my bed. That's the cool thing about cats. If they like you, they bring you corpses. Could you imagine if guys did that? Show up for a date with a bottle of wine and a dead guy? Now, if you're going to try to impress a girl by bringing her a corpse, at least bring her someone she'd like to see dead. Bring her the guy who said she looks good for her age. Bring her the guy who agreed that dress makes her look fat. Or better yet, bring her a politician. Drag in a congressman. You want term limits? You got him. But I've been home a lot and doing new things, and it's good. I even tried investing online. But as you probably know, in order to be successful, you have to get to really know the product. I chose cannabis stocks and ended up buying high and selling low. And watched all my profits go up in smoke. But I'm doing new things, and that's the important part. I even wrote a rap song. I figured it would help me hook up with some of those hot rap chicks, you know? But let me tell you, those girls will give you a workout. You gotta do cardio if you wanna do Cardi B. Or else you end up at the cardiologist. But I needed some new action ever since my girlfriend dumped me. She accused me of being a hoarder after she saw my apartment featured in Better Homes and Garbage. Then she looked in my closet and found my stack of Village Voices from 1974 and moved them over and found my girlfriend from 1973. She first became suspicious of my hoarding after she asked if I liked Campari. Now I thought she said Campari, so I broke out a bottle, which not only cost me a relationship, but I'm no longer her sponsor at AA. But it wasn't working out anyway because I wasn't socially conscious enough for her. Even her vibrator was solar powered. Talk about a day person. So I'm in therapy, and she recommended a sex change. She thinks I should start having some. So I put the moves on her, and she told me to go screw myself. So now when people ask me how my sex life's going, I tell them I'm holding my own. Seriously though, I think I may have a problem. I went to a doctor and he said, you have to stop masturbating. I said, why? He said, because it's making it really hard for me to examine you. Then he referred me to a sperm bank where they give you $70 a pop. Talk about coming into money. I couldn't believe last year alone I let thousands of dollars slip right through my fingers. But the problem is I'm stressed, and these checkpoints at the border are really freaking me out. I got stopped coming back from a beer run to Jersey, so I actually had a case of corona. I got stopped for a COVID check, but I'd already deposited my stimulus money, so I didn't have a COVID check to show them. Sometimes I worry that I have COVID, because they say you lose your sense of taste. Have you seen how I dress? These days, which gang you're in is based on which vaccine you've taken. You have the 3 families of COVID. You got the Pfizer's fighting the Modernas. Then you got the scariest gang of all, the Johnson & Johnsons, because they'll take you out with one shot. We're doing a great job with the vaccines in New York, though, aren't we? We're like McDonald's, over 4 million served. But we needed to get things back on track, you know, because everybody's had a bad year. I got a friend, Karen. Nice girl, big classic rock fan. She was walking through the park, and a black guy was selling CDs, so she said, I want the police. Now she's banned from social media. In my neighborhood, nobody's out anymore. There always used to be guys shooting craps on my stoop. Now, no dice. Strangers would come ringing my bell. This cute girl came over looking for donations to an animal charity, so I gave her all my animals. Then they sent a guy over and I asked if I could stick him with my gerbils, so he screamed and ran down the stairs. But he came back in 10 minutes wearing lingerie. One of the things I've missed most this past year is going to casinos. I really like casinos because everybody's so helpful. There are signs all over that say gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. So I call them up. I say, look, I got 4 spades, but I also got a pair of 10s. Which cards do I hold? If that's not a gambling problem, I don't know what is. One of my favorite casinos is Harrah's in New Orleans. I really like New Orleans because everybody's so friendly. Like I'm bopping down Bourbon Street and this guy comes up to me and says, blow? I said to him, hey pal, I appreciate the offer, but I just met you. Buy me a drink or something first, you know, get me in the mood. Seriously though, the deal is there, really aggressive. Guy comes up to me in the middle of the street and says, hey man, wanna buy some Coke? I said to him, you're selling Coke out in the open like that? How do you know I'm not a cop? Nah man, I said weed. That's his defense. He's selling a different illegal drug? Does that approach work in other situations? Like, no honey, I couldn't have blown our money at the track. I was in a hotel room with your sister. Now the funny thing about doing drugs is if you do them, and they have some really weird effect on you, that if it happened under any other circumstances, you'd be calling 911. You just think you got good stuff. Wow, I can't feel my face. And my leg is going numb. I gotta get more of this. Hey man, you got some more of what you sold me? Sorry pal, I'm out of oregano. And you better see a doctor. I think you're having a stroke. But I respect drug dealers, I really do, because they're true entrepreneurs. Like during the whole hoarding situation we had a while back, some of them started selling toilet paper, which shows in our society, a drug dealer has a role. Were you guys affected by the hoarding at all? Some days I was looking for toilet paper all afternoon. By the time I got home, I was wiped out. See, I'm doing a lot of toilet paper jokes because I'm trying to work clean. Now, one of the things that I have done a lot this past year, as I'm sure many people have, is watch television. And I like TV, I really do. But there are some things about it that I don't like. For example, I think there's way too much sex on television. I don't know about you, but I keep falling off the freaking thing. Now here's a question for you ladies. Have you ever noticed when a salesman's trying to sell you a TV, they always measure the screen diagonally? That's because guys are always trying to make you think it's bigger than it really is. This is why women have such poor depth perception, because guys keep telling them that this is 8 inches. Okay, 12. And the commercials on TV, I don't go for. Some of them are clever, but some I just don't get. Like the commercials for the Psychic Friends Network. Why does a psychic need a commercial? Don't they already know if you're gonna call? And they always say 99 cents a minute, call as often as you like they're doing you a favor taking your money. 99 cents a minute is 60 bucks an hour. I can get a lawyer to lie to me for 50. And the drug commercials really annoy me. You know the ones I'm talking about? Where the drug treats one thing, but it's got like 15 horrible side effects. But they don't tell you that up front. They start off with nice music and people prancing through a field. And at the very end, this cheerful voice comes on, may cause hair loss, weight gain, constipation, diarrhea, sore adenoids, hemorrhoids, and possibly death. But hey, he seems like a nice guy. What's a little death? I'm from Brooklyn, walk it off. And one of the side effects is always impotence. Impotence. And this drug is for depression. This is like you're cheering me up. Why not hack the freaking thing off entirely? Really make my day. Now they got a drug that says it may cause uncontrollable body movements that may become permanent. Well, sign me up. I mean, this sounds pretty good, right? This will make me real popular with the ladies, turn me into a human vibrator. Talk about giving a girl a fair shake. This could be the basis of the first X-rated horror film. A guy falls asleep for 8 hours in a massaging chair and wakes up the human vibrator. Then the vibrator goes out and commits battery. This film is rated double D and will have you coming soon in a theater near you. Compared to this, those Chucky movies, they're child's play. Now they've got a drug that asks the very important question, are you or anyone you know having a problem with marijuana? Now, I don't know about you, but I can't keep the freaking thing lit. Sometimes I light so many matches, you'd think I was trying to get the band to come back on stage. I don't get it. It used to work. I'd be toking away right, listening to the Dead. I'd be seeing things that aren't there. Now I need reading glasses to see the things at all. Do we have any Grateful Dead fans here, by the way? 60s. Well, the rest of you don't know what you're missing, because you got your money's worth with the Dead. You could put on one of their live albums, go to work, go to dinner, go on vacation. You come home, that song's still playing. They haven't even finished the intro yet. Okay, any of my fellow Jews in the audience? Good to see you out on a Friday night, drinking, enjoying yourself. You're going to hell, you know that, right? When you get there, look for me. I'll be the guy watching porn on a Betamax. But that's actually a misconception anyway, because Jews can go out on Friday night. I consider myself to be an observant Jew. So on a Friday night when I'm in a strip club observing, and I see one of my friends or relatives there, they're not allowed to be there either, so who are they going to tell? It's the perfect crime, and it gives us something cool to wink at each other about at bar mitzvahs. One time I walked into a male strip club by mistake, and it reminded me that in the morning I had to go to a bris. Well, I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. Brooklyn people, please put your ankle monitors on vibrate for the remainder of the performance. Thank you. Well, growing up in Brooklyn was tough on the Jewish kids, you know, because we got picked on. Luckily, most people thought I was Italian, which is good. Because girls like Italian guys. Because they figure even if we're no good in bed, at least we could fix their car or something, you know? But the Jewish people are not a mechanical people. You give a Jew a hammer and he auctions off a building. The only reason I took shop in high school is I had just gotten an Amex card and I thought they were taking us to the mall. I'm not handy, I admit it. Every time I try to make a protein shake, comes out a Long Island iced tea. Which is actually a very good drink nutritionally when you think about it. Because the iced tea contains something from all 4 of the primary food groups: vodka, gin, rum, and tequila. You have a couple of those, you don't even need vitamins. It becomes a Brooklyn iced tea if you beat a guy up and take his. Another thing about the Jewish people is there have been no great Jewish explorers. It's true. You look at the names of the great explorers, you had Eric the Red and Alexander the Great. You never had Saul the Asthmatic, Myron the Mama's Boy, Barry the Bedwetter. The most challenging thing about growing up a Jewish boy is dealing with that most feared of all creatures, the overprotective Jewish mother. She means well, but if you spend time with this woman during your teenage years, you have virtually no chance of avoiding a lifetime of therapy. If I came home an hour late for dinner, I'd look in the refrigerator, my face was already on a milk carton. I'd be out there every day playing football with the tough Irish and Italian kids, trying to impress them. They shatter a kneecap or fracture a skull, their mother's got them working construction that afternoon. My mother, I break a nail. She's out there with a first aid kit that looked like she stole it from a MASH unit. The doctors in the neighborhood used to come to my mother for supplies. Because she had it all. She had a knitting needle and thread in case I needed stitches. That way she could sew me up, then make me a sweater. She had 2 thermometers, 1 for each end, and an assortment of liquids that no chemist could possibly hope to identify. First, she'd have to carefully evaluate the boo-boo. And if it was deemed serious enough, in order to treat me, she'd have to take me inside the house. Trust me when I tell you, under no circumstances did you want to be taken inside the house. It was like a Frankenstein movie in there. She didn't have the big table like Dr. Frankenstein, no. Instead, she had the couch with the plastic covers. Try peeling yourself off those babies on a hot summer day. Talk about a horror show. Do you know when our plastic covers wore out, she got new plastic covers made? We had the couch 30 years. We hadn't sat on the freaking thing yet. So she'd sit me down there on the covers and work on me for hours, the sweat glistening from her hairnet. A cigarette ash dangling precariously above the robe that she swiped from the Holiday Inn in Miami Beach. Secondhand smoke, secondhand robe. And when she was done, it was unrecognizable. Everything was wrapped. I skinned my knee. I ended up looking like I got hit by a bus in the middle of a zombie apocalypse. And if her friends were over, I had no chance. 10 menopausal Jewish mothers high on lox and mahjong swarming me, each with their own recipe for chicken soup. And when they were done, I was on crutches in a back brace with 10 numbers for girls I absolutely had to call. You're such a good-looking boy. Why is he still single? I was 12. Now, when a Jewish kid knows he's really in trouble is when 2 Jewish mothers get together and decide to hook their kids up on a blind date. At this point, I thought you looked familiar. I planned to pay for dinner, but at this point, if he's smart, the young man puts on a disguise, sneaks out of Hebrew school, and joins a basketball team, because no one's looking for a Jewish kid there. One girl wanted me to take her on a boat ride. I don't go on boats. If Jews were meant to go on boats, Moses never would have parted those waters. Now I know what you're thinking, Noah had an ark. But I'm not buying that Noah was a Jew, because no Jewish mother's letting you have all those pets. We know Jesus was a Jew because he lived with his mother till he was 30. I don't like boats because I'm scared of sharks. Ever since I saw this video, the 10 worst shark attacks. Worst shark attacks? How exactly do you make that distinction? How you doing, man? Oh, no problem, just a minor shark attack. Could you pass me a beer? Put it in the hand with the fingers. But no matter how bad the date could go, and they could go bad, I could never say no to my mother, because she had the ultimate weapon, Jewish guilt. My mother was the godfather of guilt. Well, at this point in the show, I have a confession to make. I am the product of a mixed marriage. It's true. My mother was a Yankee fan, my father liked the Mets. And baseball was a serious thing on my block, and my neighbors expressed their support in different ways. Like we had this one guy, Mr. Lombardi, who threw out his garbage every night wearing nothing but a pair of New York Mets boxer shorts. And if a Yankee fan happened to stroll by, he'd turn around and drop him. And that's when you got caught between the moon and New York City. Then we had Miss Riley, this 90-year-old, 90-pound chain-smoking widow who had tattoos of each of her 5 dead husbands. She booked so many cremations, they gave her frequent fire miles. She handled her husbands the old-fashioned way. She earned them. She took them all off life support because they were big Eric Clapton fans and she figured they'd want to go unplugged. Now, she was the only one Lombardi was scared of because she was the only one who could beat him at stickball. She got so good by whacking the neighborhood kids with a broom every time they mouthed off. Sometimes, if she was drunk or in a bad mood, she'd whack them for the hell of it. Hey, Miss Riley, how you doing? Wham! Joey's head went 2 sewers. It was a tough neighborhood where I grew up, you know? You hear a lot now about trigger words? Well, we had them too. Except when somebody said one, you actually pulled the trigger.
And I'm Kristal Hart. Thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed the show. I'm with Charlie Z and Andy.
Troy. You wanted to make sure I remember my name, didn't you?
He's getting pretty old, I know.
Okay.
I'm not getting old. I'm old.
It's midnight. I'm forgetting. Okay, Andy, Troy.
So, if you want to get in touch with me, if I owe you money or whatever, my email address, you can write me. AndyFTroy@AOL.com. I still have AOL. AOL people, where are you? Hold up your Blackberries.
Wait, I'm a hotmail.
I thought you were a hot female.
He's the hot man.
I'm a hot
She's
female.
a hot
You're
female.
right.
I have Hotmail. When she has me, she has Hotmail. But anyway, on my website, tastingnyc.com, that you could find my event, or andytroy.com, you could find random junk that I post. My event, my humorous YouTube clips.
Listen, and Andy's parties are worth going to.
They are big. They're good. 80s parties, other parties, Halloween, Mardi Gras, all that
I think
crap.
I went to one of your New Year's Eve party, and boy, it
He
was,
hasn't stopped laughing at me since.
yeah, that was some party.
That was a night. That was
the
a night.
bomb.
Yes. I showed her a good time. I didn't actually let her have a good time. I showed it to her.
So saying good night. Oh, look at the lights saying good night. Good night, everybody. Hey, thanks for watching.